Man, I'm so excited to talk to you. We've been talking for a while. I've known you for a couple of years right now, and it feels like time flies by, and I really appreciate you coming on, especially in this crazy world we're living in. And we met back in season 6, I think, of American Ninja Warrior. So I'm so happy to have you on, Matt. Thank you so much for
my pleasure.
Chilling. Yeah, I feel like we all need to have beers drinking or something.
It's one. So we did that last night. I was telling everybody I had a cocktail party last night. It was 5 of my college roommates and I jumped on Zoom. We all got a beer, and it was just amazing because we hadn't. I was supposed to be up. I was supposed to go visit them this weekend. Obviously, no traveling's going on, but I hadn't seen them in a few months, and I just thought this was such a great way. There's something about this face-to-face communication that in this time of isolation, just seeing someone else's face on a screen gives you so much more of an emotional connection. And last night, we went for 2 hours. We thought it'd be like 15 minutes to drink and get on your way. And there's nothing to do. And the one thing I've said that's been silver lining in all this is slowing down. Because I think that's something that we've just been conditioned. And I blame the phone for a lot of it. Where we're constantly being stimulated. We're constantly feeling like we're on the move. And there's somewhere to go and something to do. And just this idea of being in your home, spending time, and just having time to collect your thoughts. It's actually been something where it's been, I felt more connected to people, ironically, in isolation than I have in a while. And my family did the same thing. And I think, now, ask me in 3 months. Yes. I'm just going nuts. I'm turned into a Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Yeah.
But it's been nice. I think that people are finding these ways to connect, and we just walk around my neighborhood, and while social distancing, still like seeing neighbors and just being like, well, I can stop and talk because I ain't got nowhere else to be.
Right. Totally. I know that it's the cool thing about, G Crew here is we wanted to start this to communicate with people again, all walks of life. No matter what your background is, what your beliefs are, it doesn't really make a difference. We want to bring people together that have incredible stories to talk about and something compelling to just relay to each other as human beings. And I think that's the problem. We're not evolving. We're not learning from one another. So it's a great time to be doing this, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that I see on social media where, it becomes a bit of an echo chamber, and you kind of find your tribe and you winnow it down. And I think if there are voices you don't like, you mute them or you attack them rather than having conversations. And I think Twitter, as wonderful as it is, and as great as it is, and it's a tool. It's not Twitter; it's how we use it. Yeah. But I do think it's people have become seemingly more divided on social media. I think when you put the phones down and you go out and you talk face to face, you find people have so much more in common, and there is, I think, more of a dialogue going on, which is what it's ironic in this isolation that I see people communicate a bit more. Other than, social media is tough right now. I think going on there that there's so much information. We don't know what is accurate and what isn't. We're seeing prognostications, good and bad. We don't know, and I think the uncertainty is a really difficult thing to handle. This idea of, is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? We don't know. And that's I think a tough place to be, is kind of stepping back and saying, all right, this is kind of faith. This is hope. These are all these metaphysical things that we always talk about and pay lip service to, but we're really being forced, I think, to slow down and kind of live in the moment a little more. And so it's an interesting time, and I think it's great that a lot of people are taking the time to try to connect with old friends or with different people, and just like you said, just forget your differences. Let's find the commonality, and let's talk. Let's tell stories. Let's find a positive in all of this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, well said. And let's talk about the past a little bit here, since time does fly by, because, people that don't know you, you pretty much have done every single season hosting it for American Ninja Warrior, correct?
I started in season 2. So nobody's been on the show since the very beginning, other than 4 of the ninjas.
Yeah.
David Campbell, Brian Kretsch, Ryan Stratis, and Lauren Ball. They're the only people who've done every season. I came on along with A. Smith. We came on in season 2. And it's, when I started, it was a show on G4, a channel that hardcore nerds remember.
I remember it. I remember it.
Yeah.
It's a great network.
It is, yeah.
And it was the reason I came to be on the show was G4 was owned by Comcast. So Comcast owned Style Network, which was kind of a fashion home channel, Versus, which became NBC Sports. But that's where I did Sports Soup, and that led me to Ninja Warrior on G4. And so when I got on the show, we thought, hey, maybe a year, that this show will have on cable, and never foresaw it, going into season 12, transitioning to network TV, having spin-off shows, having a kids show, and becoming something that's bigger than a show. It's really become a sport and a movement. And the best thing that I've seen about Ninja Warrior is the community. And what a time to be talking about this. But it's seeing how these people, and once you show up, and that's what I love about it too, is there's no hierarchy, there's no hazing. And if you show up on your first day and you try an obstacle, everyone there treats you like a Ninja Warrior. They're like, man, it doesn't matter how good you are, where you are, you're here, your family, and the supportive family that has arisen from Ninja Warrior has been gratifying to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's really cool. It's a great feeling when you stand up there on the platform and you get ready to run the course, no matter who you are and how hard you work to get to that point. One slip, one mistake. I was one of them. I slipped right off the rolling log. I've never done the rolling log before. I was training everything else. I was training more upper body, and I got my weight down. I was like, oh, I got this. It was the craziest. Joe, the weatherman, who's on American Ninja Warrior. We just interviewed him, and we were talking to him, and we were thinking back on that day where it was torrential downpours, freezing rain. The whole entire course froze. So we had to stop down for a night and wait till midnight the next night. And it was like 80 degrees to freezing cold. And I remember getting up there and I'm so pumped up. You're waiting for this moment. Doesn't matter. Everything goes out of your head, right? And I'm standing there. I'm like, all right, if I can make it past the steps in the beginning, I got this. And because they're so slippery, and I got past and I got so cocky, I'm like, I got this rolling log and I got it. I literally rolled down, hit the mat, and just like hit the water, and I was out. But the cool thing about it, right? It's like it's you against the course. You're not really against anyone else. It's you against the course, and that's the cool thing. Afterwards, you're like, you know what? This is great. I've been friends with Joe since and everybody else, and it's just one of those things that's just cool, man. It's cool.
It's just what you described too, Nick. That sense of being at the start line, and that is something. As long as I've hosted, that's why I always have such a respect. Hosting is easy. I'm not risking anything. I'm up in a host tower. I'm not getting wet. I'm not failing and being on TV and doing it. That's why I have such an appreciation for the athletes who go up there. And what's amazing is so many of them don't really have like a high-level competitive background. Like, Casey Catanzaro was a high-level college gymnast, and Jesse Graff, a near Olympic caliber pole vaulter. But so many of our athletes, they maybe didn't do organized sports. They didn't do much past high school or junior high. And so when they come out and they're in front of thousands of people there, knowing millions are going to watch, the mental element of it is something that I have such an appreciation for. Where just what you said, Nick, you prepare, but you have no idea what you're going to face. And to be totally present and yet have a plan and to execute and to not get too cocky, but to not overthink anything. I it's something that people at home don't. It's hard to appreciate unless you've been there or talked to the ninjas. And to me, I just, and when someone falls and you see it in their face where they go, that's it, a year. Yeah. And yet rarely do we see anyone cursing or anything. It's just, I'll get them next. And people immediately, we have so many submission videos where they're like, I just fell in the water and I'm submitting for next year and I'm starting it tonight. Where 364 days from now, I'm going to work. And it's what you said where I think you wouldn't do that if it really is this competition against someone else. You do it because it's not, you're working to be better than you were the day before. And the thing that the testament, I think, to it is seeing that our athletes, they get better on the course. But to me, it's been now, having been a part of this for over a decade, is seeing how so many of these ninjas have changed their lives because they found this thing where they had a home. They found this thing where they had a purpose, and they saw their ability to work hard and be disciplined pay off. And it translated. Jamie Ron, who ended up opening multiple gyms, got married and was very open about his depression that he dealt with and health issues. And to see this guy just take charge of his life, and how many people he's inspired because of that. And we could go through so many ninjas who've done that same thing, and people who've battled illness or substance abuse or whatever it is. And those are the stories that I love, Nick, because, you know, the reality is everybody falls on the show. Everybody falls. Even Drew Dressel fell and needed the safety pass to get him through it. Caldero has fallen. Britton, they've all fallen at some point. Everybody's fallen, and yet it's a show with more success because it's not always about hitting that buzzer.
Man.
That's me on my soapbox. I
love it.
It's really nice, and one of the things my mom says is, I'm not embarrassed when you're on this show.
But no, speaking of like, you know, your family and all that. Hi, I'm Josh, by the way. Sorry.
Hey, Josh.
But no, like kind of speaking of, you know, your family, your past and all of that, like this may just be a rumor or whatever. You were a doctor.
It is true, yeah. So as my dad points out, I still am. Oh, wait, can you see?
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
So I still got the paperwork. Yeah, you know, I growing up, entertainment was never even remotely on my radar. And medicine was the perfect career. I liked science. I liked people, liked helping people. And I went through medical school, got my MD, and I was doing my residency. I was training. And we just had this moment where I realized my heart is not in this. And the thing about I say about medicine, it's not a job, it's a calling. And now more than ever, we're seeing what healthcare workers do, where you have this sacred trust. People's lives are in your hands, and sometimes your life is at risk too.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it right now, where these doctors and nurses are showing up to work in places where we're all told to run away, stay far away from. They're going in there. And it's a sacred trust, and I just didn't feel the passion, and so I knew it was something off. So I decided to take a year to kind of clear my head, just being like, honestly, I thought I needed to grow up, mature and appreciate medicine is this adult calling, and instead I took a year off, and I thought you could travel, you could be a ski bum, you could whatever, you know, be a bartender, and I thought I'll do comedy, I'll do stand up. I've never done anything. I've done stand-up a few times, and I thought this is the complete opposite of anything I've done in my life, and this will kind of reset my brain and hopefully, you know, let me get it out and then go back to medicine because it's a wonderful profession. And honestly, so I moved out to LA, having done stand-up a handful of times, and within 3 weeks, I knew I was never going back. And It wasn't like all of a sudden there was wild success. It was just the amount of joy I got going to open mics in LA, bombing most of the time in front of 7 other bitter comics. There was still something where I thought, this is where I'm alive. I'm meant to do this, and just was very fortunate to kind of stumble into some commercials and then to hosting, and I've been very lucky with it, but it's been great. And right now, I am definitely glad that I moved to comedy, and that I was talking to friends. My friend's an infectious disease specialist, and so he's kind of on the front lines of this, and he's like, it's not fun going into work right now. It's deadly serious. And I thought, good for you. Good for you that you're there, and probably good for my patients that I'm here.
Dude, it's fun.
But I will say though, I'm so glad I did medicine, because it was something that gave me such a perspective. When you get into entertainment and we're doing this, we often treat this as life and death, and you know that there are huge egos involved and lots of money, and we take it very seriously. But at the end of the day, I've seen life and death, and so it really is. I love what I do. I work my ass off, but at the end of the day, I know if anything goes wrong, nobody's dying.
Yeah.
You know, this really is. We're getting to make believe. We're getting to salute people who are playing ninjas. They're people on jungle gyms essentially, and I get to make a living doing this. And it's so I'm really lucky to have found a way to kind of take some of the things that I think might have made me attracted to medicine and some of the lessons I learned there, and then I think it's helped make me the success I've had out here. A lot of it I think has been because of the things I did in medical school.
I tell you, it's pretty badass too, man. You know, yeah, for sure, and it's really really cool. Like, you know, going from the medical field like you did, you know, to such a cutthroat type of industry. I mean, I've talked to comics and all that. That's no bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tough industry.
Medicine is also incredibly cutthroat. I mean, there's a pyramid, right? From the time you're in high school to college to medical school, and then even within medical school to get into competitive specialties, you know, orthopedic. You see it. It is the best of the best, highly motivated. They're going 6 figures in debt for this. And, you know, to get into the best hospitals, to get the best programs, the best secure your future. It is incredibly cutthroat in a way that it's people. There are a limited number of spots in cities where you want to go and spots in fields you want. So I think there was a cutthroat nature in medicine that particularly in the training and just getting that job that people aren't always aware of. So I'd seen some of that too. And again, you're right. Comedy, you know, people often see entertainment as kind of a zero-sum game, but and I think in comedy we see it a lot too, where, you know, I remember when Dane Cook or Larry the Cable Guy were blowing up, a lot of comics were like, those guys suck. And to me, I thought anytime any comic blows up, anytime it makes people in general more interested in comedy, and I think that's the rising tide that carries all ships. Sure. And so it's, hey, anytime a comic comes up, because reality is you're really not, you know, the goal of comedy is to have your own voice. So you're not competing against anybody but yourself. So I think I love seeing comics do well. You know, Chris D'Elia has been popping and Nikki Glazer, and I'm like, it's great. It's great to see new faces and new voices coming up. But you know, I'm fortunate in that I guess, you know, I've definitely made my living more with hosting, and I've been unbelievably lucky to be working since pretty much 2004. Hosting and Ninja's been a great gift, and so, you know, I'm appreciative of the situation I have. That it's been pretty nice. So I am just trying to enjoy it as much as possible, even though right now everything's suspended.
Dude, yeah.
And you had a new show too, right? That you're hosting right now, Live Rescue, right?
So last Monday, we were supposed to do a show. I was supposed to fly to New York. We've been doing it every week since September. Flying out to New York. For those who don't know, it's a spinoff of Live PD. They follow police. We follow first responders, paramedics, firefighters, EMTs. And it was amazing to see how it changed. So this would have been, a week ago. So 2 weeks ago, we were in New York. And we were going to Tallahassee, and there was an infection. This was early on, and we were talking coronavirus. And all of a sudden, they're like, you know what? Tallahassee, they were a little uncomfortable because no city wanted the specter of the virus being introduced there because we didn't have it confirmed. It's like, please don't say you think it's coronavirus because it might induce a panic. Cut to a week later, there's no denying it. Couldn't fly to New York. Didn't feel as smart, so I was going to go from a fire department. I was going to go to a fire department in San Bernardino. I was going to broadcast from there, and I drove out. And as I got there, A&E said, "You know what? We're going to have 50 people in our headquarters to run this show, and right now we just don't think that's safe. So we can't put this show on the air right now." So to see this shift, and, you know, I'm in a firehouse, but it doesn't mean the first responders are still going out. They're still having to go to homes, knowing what these people have, some of them in severe respiratory distress. Or the reality is every other type of call is still going on too. So heart attacks or slips and falls. These first responders, they don't get days off. Quarantine doesn't apply to them. So I thought this was actually a time where the show was really needed, but, you know, how do you in good conscience place people at risk to celebrate those first responders who have to be doing it? Because we don't. Yeah. So, you know, it's a tough time right now. No, there's not a lot of new content, as you guys know. No production company, no network wants to say, yeah, go into the field and do something, unless it's like this, where everyone's distant. And so it's, you know, I know everyone's scrambling. The networks are trying to figure out, what are we putting on in the summer? What's going to happen if this goes on indefinitely? Like the Olympics, what's going to happen? And these are obviously not big issues, but it's just one example of how this industry right now is paralyzed because we don't know how long it's going and we don't know what to do right now. So everyone's trying to figure out, how do you do remote shows or best ofs?
I tell you, hey, man, it's Chad. How's it going, man? Thanks for being here. I enjoyed watching. You just did a video recently where you read a children's book in in the hosting voice for American Ninja Warrior, and it was amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to see this video.
It was fun, I mean, that's part of it too. Is we're all going a little bit stir crazy, and trying not to do the imagine where people just pan that. Like, oh, I felt bad. Like Gal just tries to do this nice thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, shut
I know.
up, your intentions."
I know. It did feel a little awkward. It did. There was good intentions, but
I know.
Yeah, but I enjoyed your video very much.
My neighbor's Chris O'Dowd, who was in there with his wife Dawn, and I just love them to death. And so I was biased. I thought it was a lovely jet. Like, the reality is, nobody knows what to do. Everyone's trying to do something, and sometimes we in Hollywood get a little self-important. So I just think
absolutely.
Look,
I know.
My approach has always been humor, and I've had rheumatoid arthritis. I've had a battle with cancer.
Wow,
and,
man.
When you deal with serious things, for me, I choose to use humor. And so, but again, I also know I don't have kids. I'm not married. So far, my parents are okay. It's a little easier right now. I don't have kids to feed, and I've got enough toilet paper for now. So I also in a good situation. So, we're all stumbling through it. You're all trying to provide entertainment and not minimize what everyone's going through. And, we don't always get it right, but
exactly.
It's been interesting seeing people and, things like this. I know your fans are dying to see new stuff from you guys. And this chance to I think, see, hey, this is us, no filter. This is us at home. This is us with our collectible toys, Hellraiser.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yo, you were talking about Sports Soup, right? I totally forgot that you freaking hosted that, dude. Back in the day. So check this out really quick. Check this out. Let me bring something out. This is old school.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what's he got?
You'll probably appreciate this. So I was on with Joe McHale.
Wow.
Right?
Nice.
Did you go in with
Yeah. So this was way back in the day when I did Ghost Adventures. He was ragging on us a ton, right? Because who the hell wouldn't rag on us? It was funny. 3 dudes running around going, bro, where do we go? Yeah, bro. So we went in and there's a bunch of skits with us on the Soup. We did a ton of Soup skits, but I used to love Joel McHale. I used to love all that stuff back in the day. I used to watch it religiously and all your stuff too. And I totally spaced and totally forgot that came on afterwards.
And here's the other thing though, Nick, you go on there, you have a sense of humor about yourself.
Yeah.
People go from laughing at you to loving you.
Right.
It's one of those things because some people would go on there and be like, we're awesome. Screw you, Joel. And it's like, oh no.
No, I've seen it. I've seen that happen. Yeah, and at first too, like the guys who I was rolling with, they were a little timid like that. I was like, who cares? Who cares? Make fun of me. Make fun of what? Like, I don't care. I have nothing to hide. I have no ego. I'm just this New England kid, not giving a shit. Like, whatever. You want to talk about some stuff, we'll go on there. I'll laugh at myself.
It's an honor, right?
It's an honor. Complete honor, man. I'm super humble about it.
I got ragged on three times.
Yeah, Ghost Stalkers, when Chow was on Ghost Stalkers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's an honor.
It really was fun. McHale killed it. And so when I got my first show, my first show was a game show on E! That lasted the season, but that was the same time McHale started on the Soup in 2004. And I remember we were at this kickoff thing, and he's like, I don't know what's going to happen. That show went on for like 14 years. Yeah. And, he was doing sitcoms and movies at the same time. But that show, and Joel and, the supervising producer, the EP, KP Anderson, they just tapped into something with pop culture. And I thought it was so much fun the way they did it. And it was great you went on there, Nick.
Yeah.
That you kept, I'm the same way. Anytime I did a whole makeover, a clean house, and we went to somebody made this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Unbelievably detailed. I'm like, I'm never giving this away.
Yeah. Dude, you're so like me. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger? You bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you were hosting his the Arnold,
Strongman.
Right? Yeah, Strongman, exactly. So how's that?
Well, so I did it last year, and so we did one in Santa Monica that we kicked. It was the first one in Santa Monica, and it led to the Arnold Sports Festival, which is it's unbelievable. It's I think 80 sports, 21,000 athletes, 250,000 fans in 3 days in Columbus. It is
wow.
It is. it's hard to put into words because I was with Arnold too. Mm-hmm. So because of Celebrity Apprentice, we become buds, and he kind of let me into the inner circle. So going around that with him is like seeing the Beatles at their peak. I mean,
that's amazing.
15 people deep in this massive convention hall, everyone with their phones up, just screaming for him. So I hosted it last year. It's insane. We're doing shows with 10, 15,000 people. These strongmen are incredible. It was an awesome battle. This year, so it was the first week in March. We're not, and this is one of those kind of signpost events where we're going out there, and on Tuesday, so we were supposed to start on Thursday. On Tuesday, the governor of Ohio and the mayor say, no audience allowed. 250,000 people being told they can't come.
Wow.
But then they were letting other events go on, like Cavaliers games. So they were kind of fighting about an audience. In the end, there were about 100 people there when we were doing most of the events. And, this was just at the beginning. And when we finished that, it was just snowballing from there. So this year we're doing it. These guys, who so much thrive on the crowd and the adrenaline. You got like 100 people there cheering for him. And it was still awesome. It was fun. But, that was kind of the last thing I did before everything just shut down.
Wow. So, yeah, it's crazy how a lot of this stuff gets moved around, especially with, obviously we get it with the world as it's in now, but it's crazy how productions kind of move, especially on big productions. Yeah. The one show I absolutely love that you're on, and I've been trying to get on it forever because I would have loved to done it, is Lip Sync Battle. Man. Yeah. How was that experience?
So they called me. We were nominated for an Emmy. So the Emmys were on Sunday night. My parents were coming out to visit. On Friday at like 4 p.m, they call. They say, do you want to do Lip Sync Battle on Sunday morning? And I'm like, my initial response was, nope. My parents are coming out, and if I do this, I want to prepare. I want a week's notice. They go, nobody gets that. And my manager goes, listen, it could be they ask you once and never again. So I'm like, all right, I'll do this. So Saturday morning, they're like, what songs do you want to do? And so I come up with a couple songs. We show up Sunday morning at like 9 a.m. 1 p.m. you're filming. So you go in, you've chosen your 2 songs. They're like, here's some choreography we've come up with, because one song you're on your own. You do 2 songs. One song there's like, you figure it out. The second song, we'll choreograph it. We'll do a costume. And so the first song I did was Meatloaf, I Would Do Anything for Love, which I know. So I went to Hollywood Toy and Costume, and I got like a cloak, like all the stuff from that Meatloaf. And I even had I had flash paper, and I was going to throw a fire, and I couldn't get it to work. So the second one I did was Cher. I did Believe.
Wow.
Turn Back Timeshare, which was her on the back of the song.
Yeah,
so they get this bodice thing on me. I start in like a preacher's gown, tear it off, and I'm in a leather onesie, and then they made me put a jacket on because like, this is too much flesh. And I'm dancing around looking like Cher. I'm 6'4", and I'm like 6'9", in these platform high heels, big wig, and I'm ugly. I am an ugly woman. Now, as I'm doing this, Nick, my parents are in the audience. My 80-year-old parents from Nebraska. And my mom's laughing, and my dad's just sitting there like this. Hello goes, what'd you think, Dr. Eisen? And my dad just sat there and then goes,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Had your dad not given that thumbs up, we would have had to cut him out because it looked like he was dying inside watching you. But it was so much fun.
Awesome.
And it was so much fun because I went up against Akbar.
Yeah.
And I refuse to lose. I will commit 100% and go all in. And it was so much fun. I love things where, I tend to be enthusiastic and go all in. So playing games like Hollywood Game Night But Lip Sync Battle really was one where you get, I want to be a rock star. I can't sing, I can't sing. So that's as close as I'm going to get.
Absolutely. Well, put in a good word for me, Chad, Johnny, and Josh, because we'll go on there.
Let me ask, what song would you guys do? Don't say
Ghostbusters. No, it wouldn't be Ghostbusters. Absolutely not. No.
It'd be like New Kids on the Block or something.
God.
That'd be Chad's. I don't know what I would do. I had a song back in the day. It would be something outrageous and crazy. Yeah, that's for sure. It would be wild. It would be something you wouldn't see coming from me.
Ace of Base.
That's it. So I did my homework and I read the EP said, choose a song you love. Yeah. Choose a song that the audience will enjoy. That's like a pleasing song. Don't do some dour hallelujah. Where people
No.
Against type. So whatever you. So I'm, the guy. I'm like, going to be a woman.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that what you're saying. Something people wouldn't expect. They say that's what gets a rise out of the audience.
I'd probably come out with like Onyx Slam, and I'd bring Sticky Fingers on stage with me, and it would get wild. I'd get crazy. And I don't know what halfway through the songs. I know like the beginning verse, but I don't know anything they're saying throughout the rest. So it would be great.
You only do like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like you think you know a song until you're out there. No teleprompter, and you're trying to remember the lyrics, and you can't really hear. It gets ugly. But if you just the fun part. So when I told them, I'm like, okay, I want to be in a thong, and I want to be in a wire, and I want to fly over the crowd. They're like, pump the brake. You're a little big. We're not sure it'd be safe flying you over a crowd. So much fun though. I did Celebrity Apprentice, and that was the same thing where we'd get to do. There were 13 different presentations, and it was so much fun to say, let me get out of my comfort zone and just try something crazy here. And those opportunities that being in this business afford you, it's awesome. The stuff we get to do, going on the soup and meeting these people, like these are stories that you'll tell and remember the rest of your life.
Oh yeah. What about stuff like off camera, stuff you don't see in the cuts? Something that's hilarious or funny that you could share. I was rooting for you big time when you were on Celebrity Apprentice. I was watching that, and I think I was Twittering you at the time too.
That was surreal. Because of how it got politicized because of the previous boss. Which, while we were filming it, we had no idea. He was in the primaries, but nobody was taking him seriously candidate. So we didn't know.
Yeah.
A political hot button. But it was for me. It was. I remember when they called, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to be on Apprentice." And look, I was one of the last. I knew I was filling in, and I knew it was because I was on NBC. But they were like, "Hey, we got a new boss, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger." I'm like, "Stop, I'm in." You don't need to say another word, Arnold. But then I started watching previous seasons, and I saw, I've been in reality TV, but I've been a host. And when I saw what these competitors were doing to each other on the show, and just the nastiness and the fighting, I thought, I'm going to lose my... And literally the bosses at NBC and the bosses of Ninja Warrior told me, people like you, don't fuck that up. And so you going in there, it was a concern because... You're on camera from like 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. They gave us nights, fortunately.
Wow.
But you're just like, I know I'm gonna, you're just like, I gotta.
Yeah, because they're gonna use anything, and they'll probably take you half the time out of context too of what's really occurring. So they'll create drama, I would imagine. So.
Well, what was fortunate is there were other people who were much more dramatic than me. So I think they were like, all right, we'll let him be kind of goofy, but it was, For me, what was fun was, so we got to do Harry Potter, right, at Universal Studios. This was before it opened at Universal Studios here in Hollywood. We had it to ourselves. Nobody else on the show knew Harry Potter at all. Like these, some of them
no one knew Harry Potter?
No one had read a book, seen a movie. Nobody knew anything about it. I, on the other hand, know Harry Potter backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
so this is my chance. It went really well. I ended up winning. It was very nice. And so afterwards, we go to the boardroom, which was over in Culver City, was where we had Schwarzenegger Inc. set up. So you have to, you do like 4 or 5 hours of boardroom where, you don't know what's going on, then interviews. And so I'm sitting there getting interviewed after I won. I'm on cloud nine. So happy. And I'm just sitting there going, I just feel so lucky. I feel lucky that it was Harry Potter, and I'm just so lucky. All of a sudden, hear this bullshit, and it's Arnold up above me. He goes, "You won because you're talented," and he throws me a cigar. He goes, "Enjoy it." but don't let it go to your head because I'll probably fire your ass tomorrow. And then he walks off and I go,
dude,
tell me you
amazing.
Oh. Got that.
Yeah.
At that point, you're really kept apart from Schwarzenegger because it's a competition. So I maybe shaken his hand once. And so to have him say that to me was just like, oh my God.
So
that's
cool.
priceless.
Incredible.
That is priceless.
And now, now he flew me to Austria with him to host a charity event.
Cool with that, man.
Introduced his good friend, and I'm just like, this. I grew up with the Predator poster on my wall.
Yeah,
dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm hanging out with him. I'm just like, to me, when I look at how my life came to this, I'm like, that is something I never saw as a possibility. And it's just the thing I think that, if I'd said growing up, who would you want to be friends with? And I'd be like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. It's
For real. Yeah.
That's badass. Dude, you have had such a journey in your life. What inspired you the most when you were a kid growing up? What kind of got you into this? What made you want to host shows or get on something or do what you're doing?
As a kid, I never thought this was in the realm of possibility, Nick. I mean,
right.
I grew up and it was sports and school. Work hard and get a job. And so all I did was, just entertainment wasn't remotely, you work hard and you get a job. You're in finance or, and not that my parents weren't supportive of things, but they're like, you're just going to go to school, you're going to do well, and then you can do whatever you want. And it really wasn't until when I got into medicine and realized that was the first time I really said, wait a second, let me reevaluate things here, because what's supposed to be perfect for me is that realization of we don't live life on paper, because medicine was the perfect job on paper, but that's not how we live our lives. And sometimes it's like, it's not there. So to get into hosting, I when I moved out, I thought I'd do stand-up comedy. I thought I'd be in sitcoms. It actually was, I was doing sketch comedy at the Groundlings, which is like Second City. It's where Pee Wee Herman and Bill Hartman came from. And so I was doing a sketch show there, and somebody saw me and they go, hey, let me submit you for a hosting gig. So much of my career, that could show at Eve, which got me the show at Style, which got me the show at Versus, which got me Ninja. So that show in 2004 got me the job I have today. So I would love to say I had a plan and that I've, engineered all this out. I don't. I really, it's just been kind of saying yes to things and just trying to be in the right place and trying to get people to want to work with you. And I'm sure you guys know this too. The job you have now is not the job you'll have forever.
Yeah.
So you always have to be saying, what's next? What am I doing to make sure there will be something next? And, a lot of times I don't know what it is, but I know if I work hard and I try to be pleasant to people and make people want to work with me, hopefully something else will come. But, as we're seeing right now, this really is a time where you realize nothing's guaranteed.
No.
Absolutely. I mean, that's incredible advice to give anybody that's inspiring to be whatever their goals are in their life, because all of us have separate journeys we have to take. We can't predict the future. We can't pave our path, but we can make it the best possible moment of every second we're breathing in our life to that challenge that you have to face when it's the hurdle of getting to that goal, that end goal that you want to say, wow, I completed this. I was challenged, but I completed this, or this is what I wanted. Now I did this. Now what's next? I mean, man, that's great advice for anybody that's trying to do anything in life in general, and that's what I love, man, talking with you, is because you're so motivated. You probably have 5 different things in your mind that you're working on right now or trying to do.
I will say that, a lot of times it's happened, but I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed.
Nice.
Too much time on social media. So I'm also the first to say, a lot of times I know what needs to be. We're not always perfect. And I'm certainly, I always, it's tough because you could always be doing more. And so it's a little bit hard sometimes. That's what this forced slowing down has been kind of nice, to start to evaluate and to say, all right, this is going to be a time where I'm not going to work for a couple months unless, there's some new form. So figuring out what's going on and trying to, make sure I stock away my pennies for now and save my toilet paper. I definitely think it's also, it's just a time where, again, medicine would be a real struggle right now. I don't envy. I'm so thankful and respectful of people who are in healthcare and first responders.
Yeah.
But I know I'm glad I'm not there because my heart wasn't in the right place. And to be able to do what I love, you realize now what a gift it is, and the idea of when it's temporarily taken away, it makes me miss it all the more. And so, when it comes back, to get back to doing it and get back to entertaining people, man, it's going to be even more fun.
Or you could just join the G crew over here.
That's right.
we could just play video games and just do this every day.
And video game wise.
Oh man, I used to be huge back in college. I used to play Left 4 Dead, Battlefield, Medal of Honor, and I was ruthless too. I was that college kid when they started allowing talking through the video games, right? And I used to play on PC, so I used to go into the live games. I love playing like on group live or online games. I haven't played for a while. I've had no time, but I used to love playing Left 4 Dead. I remember when my cousin and I were playing, and I would be a zombie. I don't know if you ever played Left 4 Dead. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. So remember that long tongue and the big, huge like guy would like spit up and all that stuff. So I used to come in the game and there'd be all these like teenagers and some older dudes and whatever playing and some girls on it and stuff. And I used to come in and I just start I'd be like, give me a hard time. And I just was so annoying to the point, and I'd be screaming and crazy and I'm going to rip you out. And I'd be saying all this crazy shit, right? To the point where they'd be like, kick him right now. Kick him off. And there would be one dude trying to get me kicked off. Everyone else was dying laughing. They're like, screw that, keep him on. Everyone would kick the other kid off just for being a douchebag.
That's social media right there.
Yeah. Get him off here. Can't be funny. Can't be stupid.
Groff's like OG troll.
I totally
exactly.
Like, take that, 14-year-old. You like that?
Video games, though, like I remember Atari and just thinking how wonderful those games were in Adventure. If you guys remember, where you were just a square and your sword was an arrow.
Yeah.
And I thought the game was best. And now, like Assassin's Creed, I'm going through Greece that's rendered in like a scale version of all of Greece, and you're in ships and fighting minotaurs. And I'm just thinking this game, the depth and complexity of these worlds they built, and I've been doing a little VR too, and just to imagine what VR will be like in a decade.
Yeah, man.
When these headsets are lightweight and not as draining, and they figure out how to combat vertigo a little more. What it'll be like with the world looking around. Yeah, and it's gonna be like the holodeck on Star Trek. It's gonna be amazing, and
it's gonna be like
I'll need to throw the video games out because I won't. It'll be like Inception or WALL-E, where it's like, why am I in the real world when I can go be like, I could be a Greek hero or a zombie.
It'll be like totally immersive. That's for sure. And like the games I play is like Resident Evil and things like that. I like the survival type of games and all that fun stuff, but I also like Final Fantasy and all that shit too, Like I love those games. It's like, but man, I've never done the VR thing. I think it'll scare the shit out of me. Like, honestly.
It's tiring. I'm doing the Oculus Go, which is like really basic, like deer hunting. You can't even move. Like it's really just tilting your head and turning. But it is like after 20, 30 minutes, like okay, I got to take this off. Meanwhile, when you're playing with like a PS4 controller, you can go like 12 hours with some Code Red Mountain Dew and barely a bathroom break.
Ready to roll.
Like remember Far Cry? I used to just go up on the side of the mountain. I'd swim across the ocean. It'd take me an hour to swim in our world. And then I'd get up there and I'd lay down in brushes and I'd just be waiting for sniping. Far Cry was the shit, man, back then.
GTA 5, when I'm driving through Los Angeles going, wait, I think my house would be like right here. You're like, oh my God.
I know. So I think the world we're living in right now is so weird and bizarre, just with what I do, right? And have you ever gone down the rabbit hole and thought outside the box of like what happens if what we're living in is a reality, a matrix in a sense?
So, I mean, when you hear Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg going back and forth on that and then talking about, if it happens, the probability is we are a simulation. And to think that The Matrix is actually a documentary is eerie. And it is that thing of how would we know? How would we know? How do we, who's going to be Morpheus to pull us out of this? I don't know. And then I think, like, if I got out and you're eating gruel, I'd be like Joey Pants, where I'm like, no, I want the steak. I know it's not real. Give me the goddamn steak.
Totally.
I think I having been in medicine and been in science, I think the one thing we realize is we haven't scratched the surface on our knowledge of the world and the universe. And, you just try to think of space and infinity. They're just concepts we can't really wrap our small human minds around. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of these questions won't be answered. And you think of how, mythology really kind of grew up to explain natural phenomenon and lightning and sun setting. And, it was the way they made sense of the world around them. And we look at our science and think it's advanced. And someday people will look back and, possibly say, oh, gravity and apples falling. That's how they made sense of Newton quark fields, whatever it may be.
Right. The hell is that?
It's Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
No doubt.
He's pissed.
What is that, guys?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Somebody crashed.
I don't know.
Dude, that's so weird.
It's definitely owner of Google coming in.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Is that a timer? Does someone have a timer?
No, I think it's Zuckerberg. He's pissed.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys are you're talking. No, we started talking about the Matrix. And like, you got to shut him down. Shut him down. Pull the plug on all of them. Sim.
Wow.
Out.
That was really
weird.
strange.
That was none of us. I don't know what that was.
They're listening to every word that's said. Our computers, our phones, are always listening.
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
You don't know, but they're always listening, and it's interesting times because we talked about I remember Big Brother. We read. I was in junior high in 1984, reading that book, and you realize, oh, Big Brother's nothing. We're Big Brother. We take our tracking devices. We sign all our personal privacy away. We sign up for Facebook and give them our updates and our photos, and all this information is out there. And we kind of voluntarily take this thing where at any point they could track us and listen to what we're saying. And it's like, but I wouldn't go anywhere without this. I love this thing.
Yeah, I know. It's scary when like Snowden and all that stuff came out, with the tracking of the phones, what you're saying, and taking words out of context of what you're saying, tracing it back to anything. It's also scary with stuff with cameras, your phones, your computers, anything with a camera, your smart TVs. People can spy on you now. Yeah. They can literally turn on the computer in your house and watch you. At one point, people used to say this to me and conspiracize all the time. They're like, Nick, you should cover your camera, this and that. I was like, I don't give a fuck. You know what? If they want to look at me naked walking around, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I'll walk around like I'm in the woods.
Don't find me. You guys are up to this.
Yeah, right? Start helicopter on you like this, huh? Like this, big brother? And then all of a sudden, like, a bunch of dudes come flying in my windows. Take them down.
Take them down.
Not the helicopter.
Get them out of here.
It's a crazy world we're living in, man. But, I think with what we do, the brain is so mysterious. The world is so vast. The universe, we keep finding new universes just like ours. And now we're just kind of probing Mars a little bit more and wanting to fly there. Like it's going to be a shuttle taking a bus down to the next shopping market store or whatever, on a Sunday flea market tour.
It's crazy being at a precipice where you feel like another leap is coming, another big leap in knowledge and understanding is coming, but it may not happen in our lifetime, but it's close. Yeah. And one of those things of, will we ever know? Will we be around for that next evolution or that next connection to another living being, intelligent life elsewhere in the universe? And, as amazing as the time we've been alive and as amazing as the inventions have been, so many of them have been Earth-based, and this idea of opening up either, internally, whether it's a better understanding of the mind, how the mind works, or understanding the oceans, or the even within our solar system, really investigating these other planets. So much of it is on the cusp of happening, and you just see the acceleration of knowledge, how it is this inverted pyramid of the things, the understanding we have, how it's growing, and yet how we're still in this infancy in the grand scheme. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is interesting. And, we get into this discussion a lot about time. I mean, time is such an interesting concept, too, because in a sense, we create time. We were talking about this last time as human beings, because we're born in this world. We go through this middle part of our life and then we pass away. We're all passing away as we're talking every second. We're already in time of passing away right now. And it can be a very positive, uplifting thing for people, depending on what they're doing in life or where you put your mindset. But I think it's interesting because when you start bending time, you get into that kind of those ideas and those theories and physics and whatnot. It's bizarre to me, experiencing different locations that I've been to where they say they're haunted, but are we dealing with time in a sense where it's just bending or slipping through, or you have these time slips from the 1800s and I'm standing in the room in present time, and is that coming through where they think I'm a ghost, and I think they're a ghost, but it's just two different times?
Well, I thought the two movies that just came to mind that I thought dealt with it so well were Christopher Nolan movies. I thought Inception and Interstellar, the way they dealt with time, Inception and The Dream, and how 1 second of real time here in dream time could be 10 minutes, could be deeper, could be a year, and that idea. And then Interstellar, this idea where they really were bending time, idea, and they bend time in the sense of relativity, where like, hey, you were near the black hole, time was slower for you. Here it was 60 years for you was a day. And it's interesting as ships start to get closer to being able to really make those theoretical journeys a reality, to understand that of, hey, if you go on this trip, when you come back, nobody generations will have gone by if you go out into deep space. And that's stuff where it's like, to think that, in 1900 people hadn't flown. And now, 1910 was the first flight, I think, and 69 we put a person on the moon. That's insane. Nobody had left the ground in a lifetime. You put a person on the moon and bring them back. Like the pace of innovation is just astounding. And to think, and I think that is going to be something that comes out of this, is for the first time that I can remember, we have the whole of humanity, the entire brain power, working on solving a problem.
Yeah.
On dealing with virus and the after effects. So to see the amount of innovation that comes from this, I think is going to be, it's going to be a high price we pay, but I think there will be some amazing innovations and groundbreaking developments that come from this.
For sure.
Well, when it happens, I just want to be like the kid in Flight of the Navigator, so I can remain my age and come back and everyone's old. And have my little alien friend,
Right. I want to be 27, young and fit, ready for Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll come back as a Ninja Warrior ghost, and then I'll just fly. I'll fly through that course like nothing.
You'll be like, God damn it, I'm right.
Yeah, you'll see me at the front. You'll be like, was that Nick at the front? We just saw, I don't know, roll the cameras back. And by the time you even see anything, I'll be at the end, just beep.
That is, when we talk about video games and RPGs, I love leveling up abilities.
Yeah.
And games where you can all of a sudden, so I don't know if you played Spider-Man on PS4.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The web slinging, to be able to just swing through New York City, they got the mechanics down so well. It just gave you that sense of flight and speed. And I love games that take you out of our physical reality and let you imagine what it would be like if you could jump 100 feet or fly or whatever. And I think video games give you a great experience. And then if we could introduce the VR element of it, it would be even next level.
Yeah, Silent Hill in VR, I heard, is pretty creepy. You got to try Silent Hill out. I heard it's one of the scariest made.
Yeah. I think when VR first came out, there was one where you'd explore an insane asylum.
I did that one. Yeah, it didn't scare me for the life of me. Nah, nothing happened with me.
Of me, and I was, I went into
really
seizure mode.
It scared me. Oh, that's awesome. I remember the old ones, like, I just miss Contra. Like, playing Contra and then figuring out the passcode to have all, like, lives and weapons, where it's like up, what was it? Up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like fucking riding a bike, bro. It's like riding a bike.
Who's like, we're going to put this code in this game.
Yeah.
Just have it be a game that, like a code that if you put that control in your hand, it would be muscle memory. Yeah. The amount of times you did it.
Yeah.
Back then, there was no internet to tell you. You had to call the Nintendo hotline.
I remember that shit.
How did we spread?
Or the magazine, yeah.
I remember being a little kid and I got stuck on Zelda and I kept calling the Nintendo hotline, but it's just busy and busy and busy. And as a little kid, I started bawling and slamming the phone down. Why won't you answer me?
I did that with my first Nintendo. I got a Game Boy.
Oh,
it was like the Game Boy. Remember that?
I still have mine.
I didn't have video games. I didn't have a TV till I was like 10 or 12 or something like that. I had a Woods and my mom saying, get out of the house. And the Game Boy that I had, I think this is why they didn't give me games. It's because I broke it twice because I was so pissed off with Paperboy, Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
I missed the mushroom or something, and I just slam it on.
The Nintendo 8-bit controller was bulletproof.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it feels like all these newer ones, there's so many more buttons and things, but they get fragile. And I have a couple of some Smash controllers.
Did you see that Nerf has come out with a controller now too, so you can fucking huck that against the wall or whatever, and it'll just bounce right off? Oh yeah, I swear to God, it's totally worth the investment. Trust me.
No, but it's not for kids, because it's not teaching them how to control your rage.
That's fair point.
Yeah, it's just going to make them more angry. I'm gonna chuck this against the wall.
Let's get some guys on there bad-mouthing them, shit-talking them, Nick.
I know. Well, they deserved it. I was a zombie back then. Yeah, go ahead. Chuck your controller against the wall. I bet it won't break.
Right.
Throw that Nerf controller against the window. See what happens.
You're right. That is one of those lessons you have to learn. Like, no, you broke your $60 controller. Now you can't play.
That's what happened to me. Smash that Game Boy right up.
Damn.
Game Boy out. Yeah, man. I love talking with you, man. We could talk about freaking anything. I feel.
Well, video games and movies and spending time. It's all.
That's what we do here on the G Crew, man. Hey, do me a favor. Will you, in your best hosting American Ninja Warrior or whatever voice, give us like a G Crew stamp that we can hear, that we can play back someday and remember you.
Yeah. Hey guys, you're listening to Nick, Chad, and Josh. This is the G Crew.
Yes. 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 Thank you.
Honestly, I've been sitting on Twitter, and if any parent like goes, hey, give my kid a shout out, or here's a video, I'm just trying to do shout outs and record things for people because I'm bored. I like doing it, and I'm like, hey, I'll be your dancing monkey.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Josh, you got to play back on that one, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's stuck to the tape, yeah.
Dude, you rock, man. Hey, next time I'm in the West Coast, you're in L.A., right? Next time I'm out there, Chad's out in L.A., we'll all get together, we'll grab a drink or something like that. It'll be fun.
Dude, cool. This is all over. We got to meet in person and have a drink.
Absolutely, man.
You know what we should do is bring you out to Iowa in this haunted house, Malvern Manor, where Josh is right now with his little alien friend behind him.
That's right. That's right.
We'll bring you out there. It's a cool location. I filmed there for Paranormal Lockdown, but we'll bring you out there and we can just do the podcast right from there, and we'll all drink and have fun at the same time.
Not during quarantine, because that feels like the setup for a really scary movie.
It'll be perfect.
and we'll start it like this. It'll be all fun and games. We'll be like, well, you have 30 minutes to make it out of here. Go.
Of escape rooms, but not for real. I'm like, oh, this is a little, it's a foam pirate ship. Okay, let's escape.
Yeah, exactly. Man, escape rooms give me severe anxiety. Yeah. I'll have to tell you that story next time. I was in LA and I had a couple of drinks. I was walking by. I thought it was a haunted house. And they're like, yeah, sign the waiver, blah, blah, blah. And they were talking to me. I'm like, oh, yeah, is this place haunted? They're like, well, actually, I heard there was all these stories downstairs. And she starts luring me in, right? I'm like, yes, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to walk through here. I'm signing this waiver. I think they're going to come out and like try to do something, whatever. And it's going to be instant because I'm a little buzzed, you know? So I'm excited about this situation because it's not a real haunted house that I'm used to. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I walk in and I go into the basement of this place and it's dark and shit. And I see all these like chains and lockers and weird stuff and codes. And this lady comes out like all zombie and stuff. And the clock starts and she's like, you have 30 minutes. Figure out where Z plus B equals to the equivity of A, where gravitational pull it. And I'm like, what the F is happening?
Like with math?
I was just like, man, I had too many drinks come in before this thing. This sucks right now. And I'm going to hate every second of this. And I'm trying to figure it out. The lady's getting closer, about to like pretend to eat me and stuff. And I'm like trying to figure out the codes. I'm like, I hate this. I just want a haunted house, something to jump out, man. And I was trying to solve the world. All right, man. Man, thank you. Really appreciate it, Matt. Really
thank you
appreciate
so much.
That was great. You guys are a ton of fun.
Man, I'm rooting for you. Anything you're on, I'm watching it. You're killing it.
I gotta say, I woke up in an uncertain mood. I'm in a great mood after talking with you guys. This was fun.
Awesome.
Badass,
good.
Bro. Thank you.
Yeah. My man. Yep.
All right.
So, G Crew, man, anytime you want to come on, more than welcome. I love it, man. You're a great dude. We'll have to do a drinking contest next time or something fun.
I can drink, but I can get drunk too, so that's dangerous. But I like having some beers. I've been doing cocktail night with Stella Artois, so I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
All right, man. What's your go-to drink?
Stella.
Ooh,
I put the microphone.
Yes.
Stella.
Stella. My dog's name is Stella. Right on.
I do whiskeys to be more mature, but I've got the palate of a 12-year-old, so Stella's great.
Nice. All right, buddy. Well, I love it. I'll talk to you in a bit, and good luck with everything, and definitely lip sync battle. Let's do this.
Yeah.
You and me on the lip sync battle.
All right, boys.
All right, man. Take care. Talk to you soon. Oh, man, he's so awesome.
Dude, yeah.
The dude has gone through such a journey in his life. He's hosted pretty much every big, huge show that you've seen on TV, from Celebrity Apprentice that he was on, won it. You know, he was the Critics' Choice Award Critics' Choice Award for freaking American Ninja Warrior. Man,
Yeah.
I think I need a drink. I've been running around crazy today.
Yeah. It's been a day, bro.
Yeah, I know. Or I had too much coffee today. I've been editing like nuts. All these episodes coming out.
Yeah.
You can hang out with that guy like all day. You know what I mean? Like that guy's got just like infectious, like positive, fun energy. Could definitely talk about anything. Like that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
Definitely.
Well, I guess we're going to have to start training so we can get back on the Ninja Warrior, Johnny.
As soon as they open the gyms.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's always excuses, Johnny. Always excuses. Gym's closed.
Break into that bitch.
Man, I'd be out back in your cornfield, just picking all the corn and building a whole pile, tying it together, and lifting that squats with corn cobs.
Oh, my gosh. It's fun.
Man, Matt is awesome. Seriously, we need to figure out how we can get on a lip sync battle. I so want to be on that.
Yeah, you need to figure out how you could get on lip sync battle.
I've been trying. I actually I knew the dudes, the production company who created that show. I actually, long story short, I pitched to them Paranormal Lockdown way back in the day. I was going around, trying to get Paranormal Lockdown off the ground.
Yeah.
And I had everything together, and I was talking to those guys, and they were asking me at one time if I wanted to be on the game show that was coming out called The Hellevator. Remember that show? It was on for like a minute.
I never heard of that one. No.
No,
That's
it was
crazy.
on for a second.
Hellevator.
Yeah, the dudes are really cool. They're cool dudes, but there was a show called The Hellevator. They wanted me to host it where pretty much people go up in the elevator and every floor has some haunted theme, and they try to scare you to death where you'll like run off and you give up and stuff. So
I'd be all about that. Shit.
Yeah, man, it was cool. But yeah, those guys, I didn't know that this was before the lip sync battle show came out, and I so wanted to be on it. And if I would have known back then it was going to be that big and knew what it was, I would have been begging those guys.
That's cool, though.
I've been like, F Paranormal Lockdown, lip sync battle, what up?
Lip sync battle for life.
That'd have been my career. No Paranormal Lockdown, just been me on lip sync battle.
Oh my gosh, man, that would have been nuts.
Me and LL Cool J taking
right.
it back.
Going back to Cali.
Mama said, "Knock you out." What up?
Oh shit!
All right, man.
Yeah, man, it's been another pleasure.
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
been fun.
All right, G Crew, keeping it real.